G'day, ZiggyD here. Recently I travelled to the USA for a hands-on event with Gearbox's upcoming team first-person shooter, BATTLEBORN. Over 2 days I had a chance to speak with developers, artists, and have a few hours of gameplay time in the cooperative campaign game mode. BATTLEBORN is a team-based FPS that features multiple game modes including a 5-man cooperative campaign and a 5v5 tug-of-war mode known as Incursion, which is inspired by the MOBA genre, complete with waves of AI-controlled opponents on each team. There will also be a couple of other yet unannounced PvP modes that developers have said will be very different to the MOBA-like mode Incursion. In typical Gearbox fashion, BATTLEBORN doesn't really easily define as one genre of game, as it blends aspects of many genres together, with developers referencing shooters, RPGs, MOBAs, and even fighters. This blending of genres is something the studio is no stranger to, with the previous Borderlands series blending FPS and action RPG gameplay together. However, the thing that does bring BATTLEBORN all together, and that will be the core in every game mode, is cooperative FPS gameplay. BATTLEBORN is set in a dying universe where every star but one has been extinguished. Survivors from all over the universe flock to one remaining habitable corner of space, and inevitably fighting breaks out. We don't know much about the story yet, but the setting and existence of one common enemy eating away at the universe certainly sets the perfect tone for a struggle of survival that players will get to take part in. The mode I had a chance to spend quite a bit of time playing was the 5-player cooperative campaign mode. Myself and 4 other players each picked a hero of our own choice from a roster of different heroes, and they were then placed inside of a story-based campaign mission where we had to fight our way into a guarded facility, activate a giant spider robot, and protect it as it cleaved a path deeper into enemy territory, where we were faced with a final confrontation. The mission had us work together to fight AI enemies of different sizes and threats, some simple waves of small enemies to be blowed up with our AoE abilities, and some tougher champions and various mini-boss encounters as well. As we fought enemies, golden crystal shards dropped that we could spend as currency to upgrade the giant robot with shields or weapons, and we could also spend the currency on upgrading turrets at our final standoff confrontation at the end of the mission. The crystal use in this mission was not particularly strategic, but it hints at a system that might be used in other game modes, especially in the PvP MOBA-like mode Incursion, where such a currency system could be used for much more interesting purposes. As we fought through the mission, our heroes also leveled up, and each level we had a choice between 2 different talents that either modified our abilities or provided passive bonuses. Some of these talents were pretty straightforward, upgrades to range, damage, or area of effect of various skills, while others modified how the actual abilities function, providing utility or even setting up interesting skill combos. In addition to this individual hero level-up system that happens in each match or mission, the developers have also said that there's going to be an overall count leveling system as well. I asked Vice President Steve Gibson about this system, and he had this to say.
I think one of the things that are really interesting, say you're a Borderlands player, like we imagine most of the guys who play Borderlands will probably, hopefully take a look at this.
Yeah.
I think that one of the things that Borderlands players kind of regret when they play Borderlands is they didn't get to experience all the character classes to the largest degree. What would happen is, say I'm playing Borderlands 2, I'm 20 hours in, I have a Maya that's like level 40, and I get to this particular point in the story, I'm like, man, I wish I was Axton for this. Borderlands doesn't really allow for that switch, right? To be at that point in the story and at that level, and if you just jump in, you can't really do that and actually, have the same success. Your progress isn't there, your character level's not there. So the badass rank system was the profile leveling system, right? Where you could affect your reload rate and firing rate to some degree. What we've done with BATTLEBORN, though, is we've taken a lot of that progress and we moved much more of it over to the profile level.
Okay.
So what happens now is, say I'm 2/3 in through all the story missions, I really want to switch characters. Now the things that I have for my gear and my leveling can be applied to any of the other 24 character classes.
So is this just for the campaign and not for the multiplayer component? This profile?
So actually it's all combined. We've taken what people have seen with the shift system and we've brought that forward to now there's an integrity to all the things that you do and it's tracked and brought over. So whatever I do, say in multiplayer and leveling up my profile, or do in the story campaign mode and level up my profile, it crosses back and forth seamlessly.
Okay.
So I can take my progress and move it all around.
Overall, the campaign mission we demoed was far too easy, and some of the strategy, team play, and skill we otherwise might have had to use was unnecessary. Though I do suspect that this was made intentionally easy because it had to be tailored to journalists and other people who might have had trouble with FPSs. Since it was a pretty easy and non-stressful testing environment though, I did have a chance to really play around with 6 of the heroes and look at their level up talents and abilities in some detail. I could tell from their kits that some of their potential could not be recognised from co-op PvE gameplay. A lot of their skills and talents could have some very clever use in PvP, where you can play mind games with other players and use mobility of some heroes to their full potential. One example of this that I noticed was Caldaris, whose design is a jetpack-equipped assault frame with some very clear anime inspirations. Calderas has low damage with his assault pistol at range, but high damage in melee. He has at his disposal a charge attack with the ability to double jump and fly up in a short burst. Later you can also use a talent to make his charge attack reload his auto pistol. All of this mobility coupled with some of the talents I saw means that you can chip away at another player from range, charge in for a quick melee attack, and then finish them off with your automatically reloaded pistol as they flee. However, in PvE, most of Calderas' mobility and combo potential like this is unrealized, at least in the easy demo we played. The look of the game seems to be getting a bit of a mixed reception. Some of the other testers said that they loved it, and others said that it didn't really stand out in any way. I felt like it lacked some polish and was a bit messy in places, however I think the character design team did a great job. Although the theme or style of the heroes can feel a little generic at times and it lacks some of the charm of the Borderlands universe characters, the silhouettes of the heroes are masterfully designed. In any sort of class or hero-based competitive game, you need to be able to instantly recognize who you are fighting against, and from the first-person shooter perspective this can be harder than usual. From Thorn's oversized prickly bow to the floating swords of Phoebe and the crossed blades of Wrath, the heroes in Battleborn are instantly recognizable. Gearbox has a good base to build on here, and with a bit more polish and loving attention to the flavour of the locations we visit, then we could have a pretty charming world to play in with Battleborn. One thing that seems to jump out to a lot of people is that Battleborn is a mess of different inspiration, designs, and themes. But, based on the story of the survivors of the universe all coming together, this actually seems to be the intention. I also had a chance to sit down with art producer Sarah Rosa, and she had this to say.
I've had a lot of people ask us for, like, you know, what is the one thing that inspires you guys? And it's honestly such a mashup. Our art team likes so many different things that we're combining those things together. The overall direction that we're trying to embrace is this idea of like combining like CG Western films, so like I think Pixar, and marrying that to Japanese animation and putting those things together and seeing what we get.
This idea of a mashup is perfect for a game that is essentially a mashup of genres as well.
Yeah.
And the idea that there's this like dying star that everyone's flocking to as well. I guess that's a big part of it, is the idea of mixing a bunch of different art styles at the same time.
Yeah, it's getting to mix all these different inspirations and things. So you even just in the demo that you played today, in that demo you see, you know, the moon bliss, and it's very snowy, and there's all these rocks and temple-y bits on it. But then you also see, you know, what a peacekeeper base looks like when they embed somewhere, and that contrast of those things. So we're trying to represent all of the planets that you'll visit in a nice, unique way, but also representing our factions. If they have a base, making sure that you can identify that. So when you look at a peacekeeper base, you can probably tell, like, well, Montana probably belongs in there normally.
Overall, in the demo we played, I didn't actually have a ton of fun with Battleborn. It was way, way, way too easy, and for player versus AI to be engaging for me personally, especially in a cooperative environment, it needs to be very challenging, forcing us to work together, use our skills, and really think about how we approach things. However, I am intrigued by the game, and some of the things I saw hinted at potential for multiplayer to be quite engaging. And perhaps the campaign too, if they can get the difficulty right. Gearbox might have the beginnings of something interesting here with Battleborn. The blending of many different ingredients together, coupled with what they have learned from the Borderlands series, could either be a disaster or it could be something delicious we've never tasted before. At the very least, I recommend keeping an open mind to the game before simply writing it off as Gearbox's attempt to jump on the MOBA bandwagon. If you're interested in learning some more about Battleborn, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I have a ton more footage and heaps more information to share, so I'll be able to do that with you guys over the next couple of days. That's it for now, I'm ZiggyD, and thanks for watching.